Hey guys, and welcome back to Trekyards. He is Commander Talkings.
Secret.
Oh, sorry.
Covert. And he is redacted.
I'm redacted Foley. You don't know my rank. You know my name, though. Wait a minute, that's not how that works.
Wait,
Doesn't
Captain
matter.
Foley of the USS Foley, the Foley class? Backtrackable. Anyway.
No, that doesn't even sound really realistic. Anyway, guys, welcome back. Today we're talking about something interesting, one could say. Section 31 ship of unknown name and class. And
Now, in theory, Stuart, this is the brand new hero ship. As the Star Trek Enterprise was in Beyond, the Enterprise E was in First Contact, as the Enterprise A was in Star Trek 6. This is the hero ship of the film. In theory, right? Structurally, that's how you tend to play this. Now, how long of the movie do you think it lasts, roughly?
49 seconds.
Is that just over a third of the film? I wouldn't say it gets to the halfway point, and then it gets taken over by a garbage scow, which is certainly not the hero ship of the film. That's the ship they happen to grab. So I'm not going to include them. They spend more time on it probably. But we're going to look at that hero ship of Section 31 today, the Lost and the first new Lost era ship. So Stuart, here are the best two views, and by best two I mean the most cleanly visible with light. Every shot in this entire breakdown I've enhanced, I've brightened, I've done my absolute best to get as much detail. Your thoughts and your thoughts on seeing it for the first time in the film.
Well, I wasn't impressed the first time seeing it because the front view wasn't great. Seeing it this way, though, like with the kind of three-quarter-ish view from the top, I really liked it. I thought it was a cool-looking design. It's got that, whatever it is, like remodulating the hull plating, I guess, on it. And I would have liked to see more of it because it's an interesting-looking design. What were your thoughts seeing it for the first time?
Well, seeing it for the first time, I was shocked it got destroyed, and then didn't think of it again, because it left no impression. It's not meant to, right? It's not used enough. In doing this breakdown, I'm left with the thought that it's very average, I guess. I mean, it's certainly uninspired and uncreative. Doesn't mean it's bad. I mean, you look at the Star Trek 3, 4, 5, that white shuttle, which is also the Janolan. It's not exactly inspired, but it's nice, right? It's that balance of, it's nice, it's right. This sort of feels in the same vein of, like, it's okay. Certainly I'm glad we got at least that one view, that bottom right, which actually shows it in some semblance of shapes. But already you can kind of zoom in and see that it's very, very low 3D detail, and most of it is fake bump maps and norm maps, and like you can tell this thing is an incredibly basic 3D model, very low effort, very low detail, very low texture. I mean, in the way it's used, you can't tell, but it is not. They did not put much money into building this model, and certainly the things that we make on Trek Shorts are far better for 3D models, and we have a fraction of the budget. Doesn't detract from it. It's just they didn't put much effort into it.
I wish I could get orthographics of it, because I think the top view I would really like. Side view and front view aren't very impressive, but I do like the way it kind of is shaped. So,
yeah, I think there's potential based on this bottom view. It's amazing we don't even know if there are any impulse engines, given the angle. There are no visible weapons that we can see. It's odd in that regard. And if you remember from the episode or the movie, the top view is a lingering shot. And the warp coils, which you can see glow blue, actually shift between the lines. So they're not static warp coils as the way we think of it. It's just a glow effect they're doing to make it do something, but they're not, like here, like the bottom view looks like they're solid and normal, but they're not standard warp coils. They're fluttering and going in and out. And I try to pick one that's the most blue, but you can already see that like the layers of blue, the amount of blue is all variable across the whole wing.
yeah, and I mean Section 31, because it is military and spy equipment, essentially. Maybe not all Federation tech either. A lot of that could be more advanced. Could also be, things that are a few years ahead of the curve. That doesn't get like filtered down to the other services until later. So,
well, that's why there's no point whatsoever doing a comparison between this and canon ships, because by itself, yeah, it's going to be more advanced. It's going to be different. The ethicality of what they need to have. This thing could have a Thaleron cannon. Could have Tetron weapons. Could have things that are illegal, but you just might need them. And so therefore, the design does not follow the logic that we know. They're not science ships. They're not warships. They're all going to be a level of espionage designed for different things. So it's sort of uncomparable to anything in Trek of the standard fare, but also there's no details visible to even compare. So it's a fascinating one. It's more about the design, but yeah, it's certainly. I'm sure it's more advanced. I'm sure it can do more, but that makes it kind of hard to relate to. But the next view, out of the bright orange of a planet, and yes, really, this is the only other views of the ship in the entire film. When we zoom into it docked, now luckily, quote unquote, if you take a frame from earlier in that shot, you get an almost top view, and then you obviously zoom in, and at the front you get a front view, but there's lens flare that kind of harms the ability to see it. So these are the other views of the ship for the entire film, Stuart. There we go, that's it. What do you think?
Yeah. This is why I said I wasn't impressed seeing it the first time, because it was just an odd shape, and then it's so slender when you go into the window at the front. It feels like it could be some kind of, well, another franchise, honestly, ship, because the huge window is just annoying. But yeah, it's just not anything special with these images.
I mean, every caveat under the sun, but as soon as I see this giant window, and it's giant, all I think is, for the covert operations unit ship, all the enemy has to do is zoom in their camera. Now, obviously, you argue the thing can become opaque, but then why would you become opaque all the time? Why would you have it open, right? Anyway, but it's very. That's why you don't. Part of the reason you have windows, right? They're less advanced by definition, and they don't even show holograms on them, so they're actually less advanced in every way that we see. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate that at least I found a view where I kind of get a sense of the overall shape, that top left, and I feel there's a ship in Stowe that's very similar. I say that there's lots of ships in Stowe, and they do a lot of shapes. I feel there's a shape I know kind of that's similar, and I appreciate that at least the warp drive looks more distinct in this version. But yeah, it's missing every other glow, every other vibe. I can't tell anything is. I can't tell any other detail means. There's bricks at the top, it looks like, just sort of blocky bricks.
It's also interesting because some of the views that we get here seems like it's a different shape, and that makes sense because we do see like the transforming hull plating. I would assume it's reconfigurable in some way. This doesn't really feel like the last one we looked at just a second ago. But
I don't know. Maybe yes. I think it is. It's just maybe the engines are slightly further out because I wouldn't. We see Sans ship actually have articulating warp nacelles. So I wouldn't be against this doing that.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either. But yeah, it does seem like there's some kind of reconfigurability going on, and that's kind of, like I said, double down on the planet where you see it hovering and you see like the, which is never explained as to what that is. So
I guess shields,
programmable matter.
Oh, yeah. I mean, not a big ship. I mean, we see the people, we see the scale. I mean, 3 decks. I mean, no, these be tech above their head. So 2 decks, 2 full decks.
Yeah, very small ship. It feels more like a captain's yacht kind of size. So,
captain's yacht on steroids because it's quite wide.
Yeah.
But you know what? It very much did feel like a personnel stealth craft, and that, I mean, right, tick. But let's do the only thing we can do. The only thing, the one comparison we have. Yes, in Discovery Season 2 there is a plethora of ships, but they're all warships. Well, drone control ships. So they're not a fair comparison. This is the only ship in all of Trek fandom and history which is a small Section 31 craft next to a smallish Section 31 craft. Yes, the one from Discovery is several decks, has a shuttle bay, it's much bigger, but it's designed to be a much more mission specific. Now, that's the only comparison we have, and of course it is significantly in the past, and especially given how advanced technology changes, they should not look anything alike, because they are so, 6-7 years for Section 31 should be like 100 years of tech. But here we go, Stuart, what do you think?
My first thought thinking of this, well, I mean, when we saw this one in Discovery, it had articulating nacelles, it did change configuration a little bit. The only thing I see that's similar to me is the nacelles. They're not same shapes necessarily, but the thin blue lines, there's some similarity there, but other than that there's nothing that would say that these two are related in any way. One feels more Starfleet, and that's the one that's in Discovery, interestingly enough. Also feels like a much larger ship because of the windows, which is fine, yeah. And I thought that would be the ship for the Section 31 that they were going to go with, because it was pretty interesting, and we did get a cool shot or two from the interior of that one. It seemed much bigger and more like a ship.
Well, so yeah, it's definitely a starship. This one's it's a mission auxiliary craft. So it's funny because I disagree. I think they're incredibly similar because they're both black. They're both angular details. They're both no greeblies. The engines are very similar, both stylistically and light-wise. The colours are the same for that as well. I think if this ship, essentially, they want to show up in Discovery Season 2, we wouldn't bat an eyelid. We'd be like, yeah, of course. And if the fact that irrespective of where it is in this universe, the fact that it would, for me, I wouldn't even think anything of it. If it, not the interior, that's a separate conversation, but the fact that it's black and all these different things, I'd be like, okay, it's another variant of the Discovery era. But when you make stuff in Discovery look so advanced, you can't. It doesn't. The ship does not feel 67 years newer, and it should. That's a long time, right? That's significant because that's pre-TOS, Lost era. And if you look at every other ship, TOS, Colony, Enterprise C, yeah, so they should feel different. And to me, they feel almost the same fleet, just smaller.
Yeah. It seems like more of an auxiliary craft for the same kind of design style, sure.
Kind of Delta Flyer-esque, enhanced small craft. But I imagine that's all the thing they were going for, right? The people who did the ship, they said, oh, we've got 1601 Discovery, let's use that as the baseline and then just make a smaller ship. They wouldn't look to anything else, because why would they? But 67 years earlier? And that's assuming they were new, right? What if these ships are 20 years old? These things could be an 85-year-old design. Nothing in Trek looks the same 85 years different.
So, we did see the interior of the ship. I mean, it doesn't feel very Star Trek again, but that's fine. Different commands.
Wow, PTO. What's that thing where you're done by a captor? What's that called? Stockholm.
Oh, Stockholm syndrome. Yeah.
Imagine starting Trekyards and having the phrase, "Doesn't look very Star Trek, but that's okay."
Well, it's not supposed to be Star Trek. It's supposed to be Section 31.
Again, Stockholm syndrome.
I know.
Yeah.
No,
we're very charitable. We are.
Yeah. Looks like there's different, like a lot of different control stations because they all look the same. There's no differentiation in consoles, really. Let's throw our prisoner in the captain's chair. That's a good idea.
And I didn't necessarily think it was a captain's chair. I think
neither did I.
Because I remember seeing it in the previous scene. I think that's just because the thing does fly off and it explodes, so it's not bolted down. Because it wasn't. I mean, it was a big explosion, but like bolted down. The point of that is to survive. So I assume it's just they moved a chair from the side and put it in the middle. I never got the sense it was a captain's chair, and if there was, they're pretty far away from everything else. I know. I never got a sense in the scene in the captain's chair because that'd be weird to do. Do you like the set?
For a ship, no. For like the command center,
just
no. It's a little too bright and like disco dance club vibe with the light up floors and stuff. There's just some interesting choices that they made. And yeah, like for a command center on a starbase, like for tactical operations, I kind of like the idea of this. But as this ship's bridge, not really. If I'm honest.
Yeah, for me, it feels very cluttered while being also empty. And that's odd.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying. I think the greeblies and all the busyness on the roof from this particular image definitely sells that vibe, yeah.
Because I don't really believe a Lost Era ship would have big black piping on the ceiling of their bridge. I mean, there is piping in Star Trek 6 in corridors, and I don't like that either. But it's a corridor, it's a function space that's not... It's not everyone spends every day in it. This is a very specific space that always feels more advanced than the average ship. Obviously, because they have more money to spend on a bridge set, so that's the disparity. But I don't really believe the ceiling conceptually, so that doesn't help. The LCARS on arms that you have to reach for.
Yeah.
I guess are the captain's displays, if that's the captain's chair, even though they're relatively small and you can't see them. What are they doing? And I don't think they're implying they can be moved because I don't see a pivot point.
And if they are meant to be displays, they're so small. It just what information are you gleaning from those if they can't be lowered? I mean, they could
15% for Shield's power, just a big 15.
I mean, there is some articulation on some of them. You can see where it's like at a swivel point, but I don't know if it would extend down from the ceiling. I don't know. It is odd,
and it's super different, right? And given that we've seen the evolution of Starfleet tech, I mean, honestly, it reminds me the most of the gooseneck cage controls, but that's 70 years ago, which wouldn't make sense. And there's also 2 stations per console. As you say, none of them have any distinct vibe. So now I understand they probably just said, right, we're going to build one. We're gonna build one chair design and now make 6 of them. It's easy, right? Cheaper, just build the same segment of the ship, vacuum form plastic, and make 6 of them. Fine, I get it's cheaper. It feels cheaper, but I lose any sort of structure and logic to it. It just feels like zones, but not a.
That's why I said like a command center.
Yeah,
everybody's kind of. It doesn't. It's not a ship.
Yeah.
So each station could. It's fine.
And you can say it's the small details, but obviously this is the bridge of the new 601 Starship. At the very least, I would have had the front station in front of the captain, if that's the captain's chair, be distinctly different, be a helm station, and the other 2 be... So you have a distinct delineation, maybe like in a side cut down... I mean, obviously they've got a set, they've limitation, but I don't know, I think some character to the front would be useful, because it doesn't have any. I also get big Defiant vibes from the pillars.
Yeah.
But also, why have negative space? I guess you can yell between them, but that's odd. And the ceiling lights, it just feels so un-Star Trek. Sorry, the floor lighting just feels so un-Star Trek. Like, it's cool, but you're right, 100% disco, and there's in the dance floor. It just
yes.
has an antithetical... Like, it doesn't work. Now, what's interesting is that when I saw this bridge... Instantly, I felt in a safe place. If you're the next shot, this is the Stargate Universe Discovery set. Now, stylistically, this feels to me, as in 1-to-1, almost in terms of like what's where, the things on the ceiling, all the pieces. Like, this feels incredibly similar in terms of they love this, they love this design. Let's make it Star Trek and bigger. What do you think?
That's really interesting. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely feels like a newer version of this, like an evolution of this design. Wow, I haven't seen Universe, so I wouldn't know, but
yeah,
wow.
But yeah, by having identical consoles around a central chair, pillars in between that are really big and bold, displays in the ceiling, it just has for me a very stylistic, almost inspired by, but obviously not quite. Yeah, which is not normally happens. The sort of very much like I sense this, but this felt like a spiritual feeling. But Stuart, let's look at one of your favourite things in all the universe, LCARS. And I tried to find what I could, but it's shot not ideal for this sort of reference. So, on the top, I've got the best I could find of LCARS behind Quasi, which shows red and sort of buttons. Down below is a console. Top right is the top zone, and the bottom is the data and data. Oh, I thought it was Datanor. Oh, I had no idea his name was Datanor. I thought it was Datanor. Wow, his accent was hard there. Well, I'm interested about this. I did never see. They got jelly bean buttons looking on the main console, and almost a TOS scheme on the buttons part, which I had not noticed in the episode of the movie. What do you think? Looking at the LCARS and this lost era ship.
Crap. Yeah, I mean, they got TOS colors there, which is interesting.
Did you notice that from the...
No.
Yeah.
I don't think they're actually raised buttons like jelly bean buttons, but they definitely have the colors to indicate that. The one thing that bothered me was a lot of the displays seemed Klingon in origin just because of the red color. Everything was just red, which kind of annoyed me, especially considering they weren't in red alert mode when a lot of these...
Mm-hmm. No, never. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, so, I mean... It doesn't feel LCARS-y at all, except for that one thing on the side there, where it feels like a TOS curved console which is fine, but yeah.
And don't you love full LCARS panels in a ceiling mounted, like
sure.
Full rings and physical buttons on the top, they got, like physical grey buttons. They got everything. I mean, yes, I definitely see in this an entirely disconnected art design. As in, they said, let's do everything, but we haven't got the Star Trek license, so we can't do real LCARS. You know what I mean? Like, everything here feels like a one to the left. Oh, people like the TOS colour scheme. Okay, we'll do a lot of random colours. But also we like the blues of the TMP, so we'll do lots of blues. But also red is cool because dynamics, I had red in. But also orange is fun because TNG. So everything is here, but none of it has the flavour of LCARS, just the flavour of computer. This is incredibly generic sci-fi. To the point of being, I would not, there's a Black Mirror episode, I don't know what LCARS they have. This all could be out of a parody where it's trying to be like Star Trek, but failing so much that, it isn't Star Trek. And it's like they literally have what the LCARS should look like. So they know what should look like, and it doesn't look like that, and they're wrong. And it's sad. Because at the very least, right, the very, very, very least, a Section 31 ship, which is still a Section 31 ship, would use the computer system of a Federation starship. And if you're that worried about being noticed being Federation, there's a button that swaps it to be alien looking. Because you wouldn't want to train another officer on an entirely different radical system when they're all normal Starfleet as well, in theory. So it'd be normal Section 31 Starfleet LCARS, and then they just, if you need to, swap it. Because 9 times out of 10, there's no worry about being caught. Use the thing that works best, that's most efficient, right? Would you agree?
I would absolutely agree, yes. And we've talked about reconfigurable controls and stuff before. It would make perfect sense for Section 31 ship. But, yeah.
So let's do the direct comparison then. Wabam! 2293, Enterprise B. Now remember, this is Enterprise B and C, the best and most advanced computers in the Federation. You've got the 2293 Enterprise B LCARS, which are a classic movie. Then you've got the 2344 Enterprise C, which is a little bit different, in fairness. They're slightly different colours. That also might be just because one's a movie budget, one's a TV budget, being filmed, different cameras, etc. Fair enough. And right in the middle, literally right in the middle, 20 years before, is whatever the hell that is.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it's not inspired, well, not using Federation technology at all, which is fine, honestly, for a Section 31 ship for me, because if you do get captured or whatever, disavow all knowledge, but still. As you know, those LCARS, the 2293 and the 2344, the movie era ones, are like my favorite. I love the black with the blues and the greens. I think it just looks beautiful. I don't get that feeling at all from Section 31. So,
and it does just remind you how structured classic LCARS was. Even if, okay, fine, there's a random sphere with cutouts in it. I don't know what any of it does. I don't know how to use it. I have no idea. It's so structured and organised. I feel like there's a logic. I look at the one above, and they've got all of the different things. I don't understand. I don't see structure. I just see stuff, right? And that's why sometimes having a limitation of we've got 6 TV monitors that can plug in. They have to be this size, this frame, this whatever, and the rest of it's backlit, squares. The structure kind of adds to it, and it feels uniform and nice. Yeah, that you could tell they didn't even try, and that's unfortunate because that would have been an easy win, right? Just have these LCARS would have been just an easy win.
Yeah, it feels very generic sci-fi, and I'm almost getting Expanse vibes from it, from the Section 31 ship. So, yeah, it's not thought out. Like, that's one of the beautiful things about LCARS and what Michael Okuda did for the TNG. It was just the layout was so simple, but yet so elegant, and the color scheme was just, they didn't think about that because there's just a mishmash of everything here.
And if it's not a Federation starship or Starfleet, you know what I mean? Then I care even less. Like part of the fun of Trek is the Trekkiness. So if it's just some random ship they were given, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But we did our best here. Full comparison. Exterior, interior, bridge design. Any closing thoughts?
I would just like to know the ship name, class, origin, anything. We didn't get any hint of that in the movie. I don't know if there's additional information that we might get at some point to kind of clarify that. When this ship comes to Star Trek Online, we'll get an answer probably. But I'm a little disappointed we didn't see more of it in the show, because it could have been quite an interesting design. The fact that they ended up just going with a garbage scow ship was out of necessity, and that's fine, but you made a new ship for this, let's see it. We didn't get any time with it, and that kind of, ships are characters. I don't know. That's one thing I don't think the new people that do Star Trek consider. But need more time with the ship.
Which is funny, of course, because had they done a high-octane intro scene with the ship and you really, not fall in love with it, but like really vibe it, and then it gets blown up, you'd feel it. And that'd be kind of, and then, like, killing the other lady, like, it would have a, like, oh, damn. But destroying it felt nothing, because there's nothing to the ship.
We got that Zeph analog. Oh, I really liked that ship. Well, I would have liked to have liked it too, but you didn't give me a chance now, did you? But he said he liked it, so it must be a good ship. That's kind of why that was inserted, I think.
Let us know what you guys think about this brand new Station 7 hero ship. RIP. In the comments below, anything you think. If you design the ship, then hey, say hi in the comments. If it's your favourite Station 31 ship, which it might be, there's only a few of them, let us know as well. What else can people do, Stuart?
Well, they can hit like on this video. They can send a super thanks. They can make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and that you click the notification bell icon so you don't miss content like this and lives and other content that we do. And just join us on a regular basis for First Said Lives and just checking out our edited content. We've got a huge backlog. We'd like you to watch it.
And buy a shirt, the link down below, if you want.
So until next time, which is redacted, I mean, we can't tell you when we're going to be on next. Yeah, exactly. Until then, he's Fred Johnson. End of mission briefing, everyone. Get to work.